Stewart-Haas Racing started off Martinsville weekend super strong. All four of their cars qualifying in the top 7, with 3 of the top 4 spots, including Preece on the pole. All the cars ran well, were very fast throughout the race, but then the mistakes started to happen, and ultimately only one of their cars finished in the top 5, Briscoe with a 5th place finish. But that first mistake, the big mistake of the race, was Ryan Preece. He had the dominant car, and then he speeds on pit road. What do we think about what happened to the 41 car, DJ?
Um, Unfortunate. Yeah, this is a young driver in a situation, his best situation ever in the Cup Series, and he knew he had a fast race car. He had dominated the race to that point. You have to understand that when you're in that situation for the first time in the Cup Series, everything is great, but sometimes you lose your focus on just the smallest things, and you're so excited that you've had a good pit stop, you're going to get out again, and then all of a sudden, because you've had a mental lapse just for a split second, you find yourself in a predicament and in a situation that it's so difficult because of how hard it is to pass, to make up all of this. So very unfortunate. Great day, great weekend for Ryan Preece, but just so unfortunate that you have to do everything right if you're going to find yourself with an opportunity to win these races.
Right, DJ. And you think about what that does to your psyche as a race car driver, right? In Ryan Preece's position, which you mentioned, really hasn't been in a dominant position in a cup race in his career. I know he tried to, after the race, sort of downplay the fact, hey, I've led races, and, we've seen him win modified races around the country and dominate those races. But there's something different when you look up in the stands and it's as packed as it is at Martinsville and it's a cup race, right? And you're beating the top of the top. And then when you make that mistake, that is something that just really hurts. And it hurts every part of you as a competitor and as a driver who puts in the preparation. And I know Ryan does, and he puts in the work. And it's this little lapse where you think, I should be better than that, right? And then it's how you come back from that really is key. And I think for Ryan, they can take the positive of saying, oh, we were fast, we were leading 10 laps. I really think if he doesn't speed there, they continue to dominate this race with how important track position was and being the fastest car. But now for Ryan, it's about how do you process that mistake and then change your preparation going forward, right? What do you need to know next time you're in that position where you're the first pit stall like that, knowing exactly where the timing lines are, how long the timing lines are, what the acceleration can be. Those are the things that when we talk about using all the tools as drivers, right, and our preparation and the 7 days a week you have to put into this if you want to win at the highest level, that's the stuff, the little stuff you mentioned, DJ, that adds up in such a large capacity. And the guys who are so successful at the top level of this sport have figured out their processes and using those tools effectively to not make those mistakes, right? And the next time he's in that position, he most likely won't, but that's the key, is being able to use it as a positive, to build on, to change your preparation, to make the changes you need to not make that mistake again, because this is a day where he could have had a huge, huge time or day in his career, more so than just having the pole and leading a ton of laps.
Well, his teammate Chase Briscoe also had a great car. He was leading before that final caution, and there was some talk on the radio before they came down pit road what to do, because we hadn't really seen tires be a huge factor all day. Ultimately, the call by Johnny Klossmeyer taking 4. We saw the race winner Kyle Larson take 2. Joey Logano finished in 2nd. He had stayed out. So do we agree or disagree with the call to bring the 14 down pit road and take 4 tires, DJ?
Even when I was sitting on my sofa watching it, I'm saying you can't, if you're coming down pit road, you cannot get more than 2 tires if you want to give yourself a chance to win this race. When you have a tire that doesn't have a lot of fall off, matter of fact, I was questioning whether they should come down pit road at all because seemed to have the car exactly where they needed it at that point in time. But if you're coming down, and again, when you have tires that don't fall off this much, putting 4 on is not a huge advantage. So I have to disagree with that call. Took their driver right out of an opportunity to get another win.
Yeah, that's such a tough. Well, it's just such a tough one. And like you don't, you have a car that's leading as many laps as the 14 did. The worst thing you can do, right, as a crew chief, is put you on an off strategy that throws away the race, right? So putting yourself on offense with 4 tires thinking, hey, we just led 100 and some odd laps. We've got this race in the bag. Let's just put 4 tires on it and we'll pass anyone in front of us. We've got the best car here. But DJ, as you alluded to, you got to read the room, right? Sometimes you have to read the room of what's happening in this race, look at the bigger picture, look at how many cars are actually able to pass, figure out what actually got you the lead and what made you able to stay there, right? And that's when you sort of look at it and say, wait a second, this is not a traditional Martinsville race. This is not a traditional situation in terms of tire fall off. We probably have to do something different here than you would normally do. And that's where I use the term read the room almost facetiously, but it's true. Like, you have to read all the information in front of you and make that determination in real time that this is something different. That's hard to do. You know, it's tough when you go in with a plan and preparation and looking at past races and all those things, and then suddenly you're thrown a complete curveball in terms of how this race is unfolding. But the best teams, they make those decisions and they make them on the fly, like the 5 car did, and they puts them in a position to win.
Stewart-Haas Racing had up until Martinsville a relatively disappointing start to the season. So as we look at their performance at Martinsville, just a quick answer from each of you. Do we look at what they did as positive momentum or a huge disappointment? I'm going to say lessons learned, but overall positive momentum for me for the SHR camp. Parker?
Yeah, you have to be excited for them in terms of the speed. I mean, winning the pole, all 4 cars were fast at some point in this race. You know, I think if they could have better passing, if, you know, track position wasn't so important as it was, those 4 cars showed up with a ton of speed. And that, I think, for Stewart-Haas Racing has to be a major boost for them, just because it's, you know, this Cup Series, it's often you see maybe occasionally, especially for that organization, 1, maybe the 4 car or the 10 car hits it or the 14 hits it, but to have all 4 be as fast as they were this weekend, I think that's a very important demarcation line for the Stewart-Haas Racing team.
Yeah, huge positive, because we're not just talking about Kevin Harvick being fast. All 4 cars were legitimately top 5 cars. Huge positive day. Understand results are what really matters, but they'll get the results if they keep bringing fast cars.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.